Okay, everyone, here is the slide that we left off on in our previous session. So I'm going to leave it up here just for a minute longer. And you can see how everything gets put together. So basically, the diagram itself illustrates the value web as a diverging radial with one circle in the center, which obviously you can see, and four circles around it from the top. The double-headed arrow connects each circle with the circle at the center, and the elements labeled in the center circle are industry firms, ERP systems, core transaction systems, and you can see what the other elements are as well and how they all interconnect to it. You can notice the double-headed arrow itself. So here we have synergies, core competencies, and network-based strategies. So again, we have the large corporations that are combined with business units, and financial returns obviously are tied to the performance of the business units. So here we have some business units by promoting communication to people, synergies, and core competencies as well. So here are the synergies. So again, one of the competitive strata models that doesn't focus on business process and value and change, but instead focuses on the core competencies of a firm. So most times we don't think about what firms are really good at, but instead the idea is for the firm to focus on what it really does well, better than anybody else, and to succeed by being better and the most efficient producer of best quality products and service. I'm thinking that there's so many people out there that are trying to get ahead by putting other people down instead of promoting the things that they are able to do themselves. So now we have the output of some business forms can be used as inputs to others. When two firms can pool markets together and expertise, so such as bank mergers, lower costs and generate products, and enable information system that ties together, and we want it to act as a whole. So how does IAS promote system energies and core competencies? So we want to know some questions. What is a large corporation? What is the concept of synergies? And what is a core competency? So again, what is a large corporation? Well, here you go. A large corporation is a collection of businesses that are organized as a collection of strategic business units. I know I said uniform. Information systems can improve the overall performance of these business units by promoting synergies and core competencies, which we'll talk about in a minute. So what is the concept of a synergy? Well, that is when the output of some units can be used as inputs of other units, or two organizations can pool markets and expertise. These relationships can lower costs and generate profits. So in applying a synergy to a situation, the information system, or IS, they're used to tie together the operations of business units so that they can act as a whole, or the separate business units. And what is a core competency? I know that you're waiting patiently to know exactly what that is. That's an activity for which a firm is a world-class leader. In general, a core competency relies on knowledge that is gained over the many years of experience and is a first-class resource organization or a simple key to people can stay abreast on new external knowledge. Any information system that encourages the sharing of knowledge across business units is going to enhance competency. And you can see all the classes and IT classes and every other one are going to have core competencies for the actual class itself. So again, here is, I put it in writing for you to look at. So here is an example. Procter & Gamble uses the internet to help people working on similar problems to share ideas and expertise. And network-based strategies. So we talk about the marginal cost of adding another participant that want to make it near zero, or marginal gain is much larger. Larger number of participants in an internet, greater value to all participants. That's a network. Virtual uses networks to link people, resources, and ally with other companies to create and distribute products without traditional organization boundaries or physical location. So I think we can just pretty much leave it at that. So This is going to explain also why some services like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube have grown really huge. So again, another network strategy is to use the internet to find partners and collaborators who can magnify the power of your smaller chain. So how do businesses benefit from network economics? I do not know what city this is, but it looks like a New York City over here, based upon this building over here is the new city. In here, I don't recognize all these buildings in here from this height, but this is downtown Manhattan in here, and across the river here is New Jersey. So what are the benefits of pursuing virtual business strategy? So let's talk about a virtual company that's going to use networks to link people, assets, ideas, enabling it to ally with other companies to create and distribute products and services without being limited by traditional organizations, boundaries, or physical locations. So basically, a company can use the capabilities of another company without being physically tied to that company. And let's go back to the other slide over here. So how do businesses benefit from network economics? So thinking about the marginal cost of adding another participant is almost zero, where we talked about that in the marginal gain. So really the slide before kind of sums all this up over here. So we'll move on. Disruptive technologies. So you can see we have personal computers, World Wide Web, Internet, musics in here. So their disruptive impact on industries and businesses, rendering existing products and services business are pretty much obsolete in here. They gave you some examples, first movers versus fast followers in here. So we're going to talk about technologies throughout history have been disruptive in the sense they use products to produce superior products and services at a fraction of the cost. So think about Gutenberg's printing press, thinking about automobiles 100 years ago, obviously the airplane in here. So we got rid of horse and buggies because we have a car, and we're able to get rid of a lot of things because we now have a plane to fly on. The internet is really making things so much easier. We don't need mail in here anymore. We can just send somebody an email. So that's pretty simple in here. So again, here's disruptive technology. So can you describe internet technology? So just think about that in your mind. You want to try to think about it. So, the internet is obviously going to increase the accessibility of storage and distribution of information and knowledges for organizations, and any information can be available really anywhere, anytime. Often, a lot of times, I'm even in the middle of teaching a class, I'll come up with something I can't put my finger on, or something new concept. I'll just go in there and get information real time. Just go right on the web and find it in here. So it also lowers the cost and raises the quality of information and knowledge distribution. In other words, it lowers transaction costs and information acquisition. By using the internet, organization may reduce several levels of management, enabling quicker and closer communication. Now, an example for me was I didn't have to take the time to call up and make an appointment to get my yearly eye exam. I could have done that, but instead I went in there, went online, went to the website, chose the date and the time that I wanted from the available times in there, and was booked my appointment right then and there. Didn't have to pick up the phone, didn't have to haggle about what day of the week, what time, and it was really very convenient for me. So the Internet and Globalization. So prior to the Internet, competing globally was only an option for huge firms able to afford factories, warehouse, and distribution centers. So obviously, you're still going to need that a warehouse and distribution center if you're shipping products in here. But there are a lot of them are not shipping products. You can go online and buy courses, and that's not a product. That's just a simple thing that you go on there and they make a bunch of videos and you're good to go. So how does globalization increase business profits? Well, we talked about that before. So It facilitates the coordination of graphical dispersed units of the company in communication with faraway customers and suppliers. What just comes to mind right now is Nike in China. I believe that the majority of the shoes are made still in China. Well, that's kind of far away. So, but everything can be done, ordering and a whole bunch of stuff is all done online, and you don't have to obviously go to China to place an order, and you don't have to go to China to receive an order. Just have to do what it was, have them make it, ship it, and we receive it and send it to wherever it needs to go. So firms that can sell the products on a global scale can obviously reach a much larger marketplace. Firms that can produce goods and services on a global scale can also achieve cost reduction. So I know that is really exciting. And here is Apple's iPhone supply chain. So these, I'm assuming, are all the areas that either are made from. So I know that they are made in China and probably South Korea. I'm not really sure about Japan, but you can see how we are going to interconnect long distance. So again, global business system strategy, domestic, multinational, franchisers, and whatever the last one was, domestic exporters is, let's go back. It is transnational. There we go. I started to say it, and I just somehow got sidetracked. So hopefully you will forgive me for that. So domestic or exporter, heavily centralized corporate activities in a home country, such as production, sales, marketing, finance, and other such functions are set up to optimize resources in their home company. And foreign marketing is totally reliant on domestic home base, which makes sense. Multinational concentrates financial management and control in a central house home base, but decentralizes production, sales, and marketing to suit local market conditions. Franchisor will create, design, and finance the product in the home country, but rely on foreign operations for further production, marketing, and human resources. A lot of cars are purchased, the parts, out of country, and then are manufactured and enhanced in here. And then we have transnationals. So in transnational, think about it that there's a lot of ways to set up global information. Much depends on the type of the company. Most companies today have large data centers spread around the world to handle the information needs on a regional basis. Some are more centralized than others, though generally the trend was to allow regions considerable autonomy, but this strategy backfired, unfortunately, as firms sought the efficiencies of a single global product, service, and database. So today the trend is towards centralized global systems for financial results and supply chain coordination, and the local and regional systems for facing customer activity. So here I have a little tidbit of information for you. So here is centralized systems, here is duplicated, here is decentralized system, and here are the network systems. So you can see what each one of those does. And here is a little figure over here. The large X show the dominant pattern, but the small X's are going to show emerging. And what is quality? So you can see quality really is something that's, everybody has their own definition of quality. To me, quality means it works and I don't have to fix it and it's going to last for a long time. So producer perspective, conformance to specification and absence of variation from specs. From a customer perspective, I talked about quality. That's the reliable quality of service. Hey, something happened, it's not working. And psychological quality. I'll give you an example of quality of service. I bought my wife a coffee maker. I know that probably not much of a present for her, but she wanted a new coffee maker, so I went and bought one. I believe it was a Proctor Silex, and all of a sudden it started leaking out of the bottom, and I couldn't understand why. So what happened was I took it apart. I went online to see what it was, and they said there's a tube that needs to be connected, and sometimes that tube could come off. So I opened it up to see, and the tube was off, and the reason why it was off because they never put a clamp on it. So I called them up, and they said, no problem, we'll just send you another one. I had another one in like 3 days. And they said that don't worry about fixing it. Don't worry about sending the other one back. Just keep it. Well, I thought that was neat. I wasn't impressed at the fact that they didn't put the clamp on in there. Should have been on. But that's going to happen from time to time in here. So you can see total quality management, TQM. The quality control is in the end itself. All people, functions responsible for quality. And the 6 Sigma measure of quality, 3.4 defects, million opportunities. That's really exciting. What are customer concepts of quality? So I have them over here. So you can read them at little. I'll put this up for a few more seconds. Rather than me just reading to you, you can see that. And one of the strategies, obviously, for a company is to produce the highest quality product or service, and you want to charge accordingly. And sometimes you have to charge more. Sometimes people worry about something that's too inexpensive, thinking it's going to be cheap. So, meaning cheap in quality. All right. So, how information systems improve quality. So, basically, simplifying the product or service in the production process. The fewer the steps in the process, the less time and opportunity for an error to occur, or for something like a clamp needing to be put on. Facilitating benchmarking, set strict standards for products and services and other activities, and then measure the performance against these standards. Then you have using customer demands to improve products and services, reducing product development cycles. So shorter cycles times means that the problems are caught earlier in the process, often before the product is of a defective product is completed. So you want to find it out, obviously, before you ship it up. And then improving quality of design. Sometimes they're going to use the CAD in here, computer-aided designs. What is a business process management BPM? So again, we talk about technology alone is not enough to improve business. So we need organizational changes. We need to continually improve our processes. And we need to use a variety of tools and methodologies in which is going to understand the existing process, design and optimize new processes, and optimize these processes. So one thing is BPM is never concluded because you need to be continuous improvement requires continuous change. You can take a look at an app. You go to the App Store. Every day you see 3 or 4 more updates, bug fixes, and so on and so forth. So a product is never done, even if it's just improving something. And here are the steps in BPM. Identify the processes for change, analyze existing processes, design new processes, implement new processes, and continuous measurement. So I am going to stop at this one here. And let me leave this back up. I will pause the video here, and this will be video part 2, and then we will conclude with part 3.